So I want to start by thanking God for this, my family, my wife, and these guys right here. He put them in my past, you know.
After 10 days of testimony and just over 7 hours of deliberation, a jury has found former Uvalde CISD officer Adrian Gonzales not guilty on all counts. Gonzales was the first officer to go on trial for his response to the Robb Elementary School shooting. As the verdict was read, the courtroom divided. Gonzales lowered his head and was embraced by his defense team, while families of victims and survivors broke down in tears.
19 children that are buried at Uvalde Cemetery, 2 teachers that we totally honor, and countless of survivors that had enormous pain.
Now, the only other officer still facing criminal charges, former Uvalde CISD Police Chief Pete Arredondo. Victims' families say, despite the verdict, that they will be on scene whenever Arredondo's trial begins.
Now, as we mentioned, it took about 7 hours for jurors to decide that Adrian Gonzales, that former Uvalde school officer, was not guilty on those charges. These charges, 29 of child abandonment and endangerment.
Yeah, prosecutors tried to claim that he didn't follow his active shooter training. He didn't confront that gunman at Robb Elementary School. So joining us now to kind of break down that verdict, Dallas criminal defense attorney Terry Bentley Hill. And Terry, we talked a little bit before, not really surprised by this outcome.
I'm not surprised. I watched most of the trial, and I think the prosecution went in with a very high burden to prove that this officer did not act and follow his training, and it seemed like their witnesses that they called actually were better for the defense than for the prosecution. So I was not surprised that the jury found reasonable doubt and did not convict this officer.
Well, you mentioned that testimony. Was that a key moment, or was there a key piece of evidence that you thought, you know, this is likely going to tip the jury one way?
Yes, I think there was. I think that the jury probably had a very difficult time not comparing what this officer was accused of compared to what other officers did. And so I think they could not make a distinction. And people would ask, why this officer? There were 377 officers there on the scene. Took them 77 minutes to even breach the classroom. Why this officer? And the only thing that we could come up with basically is that he was the first officer on the scene, and therefore it wasn't what he did when he first arrived or what he did when he ran into the school. It was what he didn't do in about a minute and a half between those times.
We mentioned Pete Arredondo, by the way, facing charges as well. Do you think there will be a different outcome? Obviously, we're going to see what the trial brings, but
I think there's a different set of facts for the chief. I think because he was the chief, that he might have had additional responsibility than this officer did, and people were looking to him to control the scene, to make decisions. He's accused of not doing that, not following his training, not taking control of this horrific event. But we've heard from his lawyer, and so his lawyer has already said that he doesn't think he's done anything wrong. He didn't think Adrian Gonzales had done anything wrong, but he's saying that this might influence, quote, the crap that they push, you know, on the prosecution pushes on his trial.
Well, we will see what continues to happen as this case continues to move forward for Pete Arredondo. Terry Bentley Hill, thank you for joining us this morning. Appreciate your